My observation since President Trump has become president, I feel like God raised him up for such a time as this. And by the way, God oftentimes uses unbelievers. God doesn't always pick believers to lead. You've got a story in the Old Testament where God raised up a man named Cyrus who intervened for the Jewish people. He wasn't a Jew. He wasn't a member of the kingdom of God. But God changed his heart to have favor toward the Jewish people and the Jewish nation. And God raised him up for such a time as that back then. And I believe God has raised up President Trump for such a time as this. And the world can't understand why the church would vote for him. Because he doesn't act like a Christian. He doesn't look like a Christian, right? We're not voting for a pastor. We're not voting for a Sunday school teacher. But, I read an article this week that somebody said, and they're in the administration in some form or fashion, they said Donald Trump may not be a Sunday school teacher, but he sure knows how to hire them. And his point was he has surrounded himself with really, really good people. His advisors are good. He's done some things for the kingdom of God that no president in our lifetime's ever done. Every president, as far back as I can remember, has promised to move the embassy in Israel to Jerusalem, but they never do it. Donald Trump did it. Listen, that's a kingdom thing. That's one of them things that shakes the heavens.
In 2013, we went to the Capitol, and this was on, how many of y'all remember the sonogram bill? The sonogram was a pro-life bill, and science is on our side. When you look at a sonogram, because what most of these ladies that have abortions, they've never looked at what's inside them. They've been told by the liberals that it's just a piece of glob. It's nothing. But when you do a sonogram, even at 2 or 3 weeks, you can tell it's not a glob. It's a living human being. That's right. And so we want to pass this sonogram bill, which make every woman would have to look at a sonogram before she could decide whether or not to have an abortion. That bill passed, and by the way, that cut abortions in half. Mm-hmm. We went from almost 120,000 a year, I think, to 55,000 after the sonogram bill passed. Mm-hmm. So it was a big deal. But while we're there, we have a rally at the Capitol one day. And me and my wife go to it. There's about 6,000 or 7,000 people showed up for this pro-life rally on the west steps of the Capitol. And so it was great. Dr. Jeffers from First Baptist Dallas was there. Franklin Graham was there. Well, what I didn't know when I got down there, the pro-abortion people were on the east side of the Capitol having a pro-abortion rally. Now, I'm a pastor. I have to deal with evil from time to time, right? I mean, I've seen evil. I'm not scared of evil. I'm not afraid of evil. But my whole lifetime, evil has had to hide in the corners. It is. In fact, the next day, they were meeting to vote on it, and the gallery at Austin, the Capitol, is about 350, 400 seats is all they have up there, and it's first come, first served. So this is a hot item. They wanted to get in there and control that. They got in there early, beat all the conservatives in there, so they own the gallery. And they brought in with them bottles of urine and feces that was not caught. And when the lawmakers came out from under the stands to get onto the floor, they dropped the urine and the feces on them in protest of them voting to pass the sonogram bill. Evil's real. And I'm telling you, every day it's getting more and more bold. And the reason it's getting more and more bold is because the church is asleep. That's right.